Blog Talk Radio.
Following ingredients include a look behind the scenes. Cook uncovered until hot. Add grooves to taste.
I would like, if I may, to take you on a strange journey.
Once upon a time, there was a little girl.
The accident was over a year ago. A second woman has been elected president. The 12th planet has been named in the solar system. The last wild polar bear has died. I slept through it all. I was here for my waking. He called it a beginning. He said it was good. I think he may have thought that anything I did was good.
Welcome to Transition Radio, live from Wilton Manors, Florida, with your host, Mark Angelo Cummings.
And your hostess, Jessica Lynn Cummings.
Show for trans folks, by trans folks, here to let your voice be heard.
Well, good evening, and welcome to another edition of Transition Radio, live from Wilton Manors, Florida. God, I love this place. Yeah. Wilton Manors is the gay LGBT place.
San Francisco, Florida.
Exactly. We love this place, and we love doing this show to interact with all you great people and just have wonderful guests as we do tonight.
Absolutely. And tonight we have Vanessa Victoria Nasser, a Puerto Rican transgender woman, actress, model, and activist. But before we bring her on, we want to thank our sponsor.
Yes, the breastformstore.com. They have everything you can possibly need for your transgender and cross-dressing needs. Visit their website at www.thebreastformstore.com and tell them Mark and Jess from Transition Radio sent you.
Vanessa was born June 27, 1984, in Mayagüez, Puerto Rico, raised in Aguadilla, Puerto Rico. Vanessa Victoria is the middle child of three, a brother and sister. Had her first TV appearance at age 5. Went to a private Catholic school up until high school.
Where, when she went to public school, started a dance group and choreographed their dances. Went on a small tour around Puerto Rico to compete and won 3 trophies. She graduated in 2003, went off then to study different things and broaden her horizons. In March of 2006, she moved to New York, and in July of that year, started her transition. It wasn't until 2007 when she had her first modeling runaway gig, and from then on, she did photo shoots. She got married to Derek Nazard in May of 2009, but they are currently separated.
She has been an activist for LGBT youth, transgender rights, and for HIV patients. She plans to continue her work that she enjoys so much and keep growing in it, and also be able to lead and guide others. Fashion is her life, and she intends on making something major and beautiful of it. Now let's welcome to our show the beautiful Vanessa Victoria Nasser. Hi, Victoria.
Hi.
How are you?
It's a pleasure to have you on our show.
You.
That's awesome. So Puerto Rico, that's an amazing island. I'm from Cuba, so the islands are very close to each other.
Yes.
Yeah. And I went to Puerto Rico when I was 7 years old.
It did.
I try to go there once or twice a year.
What I can remember of it, it was gorgeous.
I have a lot of friends from Puerto Rico, but I've never actually visited the island, and that's awesome. We should do.
Definitely.
So let me ask you, Vanessa, how has the reception been for trans individuals in the beautiful island of Puerto Rico?
Well, now I guess the whole trans thing is being big now in 2013. Now for them it's like, I guess, something that they're working on. But back then, when I was, born and raised, and up to when I moved over here to New York, it was something that was not very well known at all, which was one of the reasons that led me to move to New York City.
Definitely. I actually did a show, and I can't remember the name of it. The host, she came down with her crew from Puerto Rico, and they did this whole documentary about me because they were very fascinated. They were still in the learning process, and they were pretty much not with the program. They were pretty judgmental about it back then. So you say that there are more progress now in it, and I guess they're getting with the program, as I would say.
Well, somewhat. They still have a lot to learn.
That's everywhere.
Yeah, I think we're still. I mean, we're
making a lot of progress, but still got a long way to go.
Well, it's hard for people to actually master the whole concept of people changing their bodies, altering it to fit what they feel inside. So we have to be patient. It's work in progress.
Yeah, definitely. Let me ask you, Vanessa, did you find it difficult expressing yourself in such a male-dominating culture, and how was your coming out received?
It was very stressful, I have to say. When I was growing up, I didn't know, there was only a few things that were known. Gay, lesbian, drag queens, and transvestites. That's basically it. Transgender or transsexual is something that is not talked about or known, at least back then. So it was very hard, and especially me trying to figure my identity, it was because I didn't know where I fit in. So, for most people, a lot of people, especially coming from Spanish cultures, I had to identify as gay. I had to identify as being a gay person because that's the closest one that matched. Because I knew I wasn't a lesbian. I knew I wasn't a transvestite or a drag queen. It was way beyond that. So I felt like I needed to associate with gay because it was the closest thing. But it wasn't until later on when I was opening, my horizons and, went to San Juan and started studying and went to met other people that have been in the scene and the LGBT culture longer, is when I started learning about it and saying, okay, wait, I'm not gay. I'm trans, and it's okay. But, for a lot of people over there, no matter what you transition, how long you've been transitioning, how wonderful you may transition or what you may do as a surgery-wise, a lot of them still consider you to be a gay person, a gay man who is dressed or just has surgery to look like a woman. So for a lot of people in the Spanish culture, you're always going to be looked at as a gay man who had surgery to look like a woman. They truly don't understand beyond that I'm not gay. I was never a man. I was just trapped in the wrong body. And I had to just match the outside and get a little work done and get some transition and certain things to match what the outside and match the true person that I really am.
Exactly. Well, actually, I have a friend, a coworker that I used to work with, and he's from Puerto Rico, and him and his mother were very understanding because I transitioned on the job, and I was surprised, because of all the things that I heard about, other countries not being so accepting. Well, him and his family were more accepting than my family. And I was like, wow, that's insane. And they're originally from Puerto Rico.
Yeah, I think it's a person-to-person kind of thing. And, again, it's the upbringing, the very macho environment, and boys will be boys, girls will be girls. And they don't realize that there's a lot more to gender.
Yeah, even up to this point, I had some people from Puerto Rico that, acquaintances or people that I went to high school with, especially, in June, I went back to Puerto Rico for my high school reunion. So that was something major. Most people I've been in touch with for 10 years on Facebook, but a lot of them, even if they heard of me or they had never seen me in person since I transitioned. So it was something really big. I was very anxious and nervous, but I had a blast. Everything was amazing. And a lot of them, still kind of see me like that same person that they went to school with, just with long hair and boobs and, like different voice and certain things. And at this point I find it a bit funny that people, can't see past that ignorance or that machismo and see what it truly is. And a lot of them, sometimes it's not worth sitting there and going over and over and over, because some people, they just can't get through their head. They can't seem to understand and separate, especially separate that sexual orientation is completely different from gender identity.
Yes,
so
exactly.
I could have been easily, lesbian and been trans, and that's two completely things. But they would not understand it. That would probably cause them a major confusion, because they would really not understand that there's two separate things. When I realized what was really going on, I was in a committed relationship with an amazing, amazing man, and I was with him for 1.5 years, and we were living together and everything, and I had to have a conversation, because me and him got into a point that we were arguing a lot, because as I was coming into myself and realizing, I was starting to let my hair grow and changing certain things about me, and he didn't like that, obviously, and he was starting to realize what it was. And we had to have a conversation where I told him, I'm sorry, I love you, but I'm not a man, and I thought I was, but I'm not, and I can't be who you want me to be. And, we had a very, it was very emotional conversation. We cried together, everything, but we're still really good friends now, but we got to understand what it was. So from there, I decided to have a conversation with my family, which on and off, since I was little, they could tell that I wasn't, I guess, quote unquote, what I was supposed to be. And there was something that stuck out and was different about me. So when I started telling my mom, I have an aunt that lived here at the time, my mom's sister, and she's a lesbian, so I felt like, I could associate with her and get some type of moral and support from family, and, being that she would understand a bit more. So she told me to move over here, and I had a conversation with my mom. I remember like it was yesterday. We were driving in her car towards the mall, and I was sitting in the back, and she asked me what was really the main reason I wanted to go, besides the economy, which is still really bad. We're starting to get really bad, and jobs were bad and all that. And I told her, I believe you know what it truly is, Mom. And she's like, I want to hear it. And I was like, well, I'm a woman. I want to transition. And she was like, well, can you do what you're doing right now? Because, at the moment, even though I presented certain things feminine, but I wasn't living full-time. So when I would go out at nighttime, that's when I would use to dress as a female, not during daytime. And she's like, can you do that? Whenever you feel like you want to be a girl, just dress up and then come home, take the makeup off and the woman clothes, and that'll be it. And I had to have a conversation with her and let her know that it was beyond that. That wouldn't be near enough. And I had a long, extensive conversation with her, and she was like, you're my baby. You'll always be my baby. I'm going to miss you, because we lived fairly close to each other, and my family is very, very united family. But if that's what you need to do for you, then go ahead, because you're not going to be able to do it here. So.
And I come from a Latin family too. I'm Cuban, and my mother did the same thing. Well, why don't you stay a lesbian? Well, Mom, I'm not a lesbian. I'm transgender, and it's hard for them to put two and two together. It's just the programming, and I don't know if it'll ever get through to everyone. A lot of people are learning, and they're becoming better about it, but we still have a major struggle.
Exactly. Well, why can't you just be gay?
It's not about gay.
No, it's not about that.
Obviously, you and I, Jess, we break that. Has it been difficult to pursue your dreams as a transgender woman?
I wouldn't say it's been difficult, but it really it hasn't been as easy. Taking that was one of the biggest steps I took towards my transition. Before transitioning was moving to New York. I have visited quite a few times, but it's different living here than than just visiting. And, I had to help from my aunt, but I really didn't know anybody. So I really had to start from the bottom up. Thankfully, 2 weeks after I moved over here, since I've always been into fashion, I started working in Banana Republic. And I started there, getting to know people, just to have some people that I know and to talk to. And then started just exploring the city and getting to know different places where I could transition. And 3 months later, a few months later, like 2 months later, I was able to find this great community center that is LGBT, and they have all type of health, mental health and dental, like all types of health in one clinic. And I thought it was great. So, 3 months after I moved to New York, I was able to start transitioning. And I remember it was major. I was so excited. I remember I cried because I was happy, and I cried because, I was sad because a lot of things came, they made it so appealing and great, but at the same time a bit scary. If you haven't, done some type of, self-care and certain things like you've done, you won't be able to have natural children and certain things. And at the moment, I wasn't prepared for that. And there was something that bothered me at the moment because I was like, damn, I would never be able to have a child of my own. But I figured, when I was in the right mind and it was the right time, if I had to adopt or something, I would be able to give the same love to someone who is adopted, whether they're not biologically mine, and I can treat them just as such. And I started, and it was great. I felt like I took on a new journey. It was beyond amazing. And from there on, I just started growing more as a person because I felt like I was starting to come really, I was really starting to live. My life had really began there. And, it was a bit easier for me to transition because I really never had, a lot of, I guess you can say, masculine or certain features, especially as it's coming from the Spanish culture. So I was, because at the moment I felt like I needed to blend just for me as a whole and as a woman, but for my safety, because, it was New York City, and good things and bad things unfortunately happen here. So I was fortunate enough to meet a lot of people from a lot of organizations, and I was 7 months after I started transitioning, I was able to legally change my name and my gender. And for me, I thought that was one of the biggest stepping stones that I could ever achieve. And it's funny because when I went to the court and did everything, it was put so simple. And the only thing I had to pay was $95 versus when I lived in Puerto Rico, I spoke to the lawyer of my family, and I had asked her how much. And she said, well, since I know you and I know your family, I can leave it to you for like $800 or $900, I believe she said. And I thought it was just absurd and ridiculous.
Yeah, it's gone up here in Florida. It's $401. When I did it back in the day, it was 100 and something. Now it's 400 and something. They're catching on. I figure it's a money-making scheme.
Yeah, exactly. So let me ask you, Vanessa, who were your role models growing up?
I think my main role model, and this woman has always been my role model, is my mom. My mom is just an amazing human being. Her name is Nelida Castro. She is an amazing human being. As you mentioned before, I'm in the middle of 3 children, but from her side, from her and my dad, I'm the baby. It's only me and my sister. And, she raised me and my sister by herself. I mean, she had some help from other family members, but she basically took it on her own. She did the man and the woman role, and she did absolutely everything to make sure not only that we had the proper education, but we had the best of, we had the food always on the table. She made sure I always had the best clothes, everything, whatever was trending at the time, and to give me all the pleasures and things. And she was just an amazing human being, and she's my best friend. And now, years after I've been transitioning for a little over 7 years. It took her a while to get used to the idea even though she kind of knew it and from when I was younger and she saw some patterns, but it's not the same as when it's actually there. You know, and that conversation that I told you I had in the car with her, I remember her telling me, you know, please, whenever you come back, just don't come back with a big hair and 10 pounds of makeup. And then I had a big laugh, and I remember telling her, Mommy, I'm not a drag queen. I'm a woman. You know, I am a woman before I am transgender. And you will get to see this as time passes. So 9 months later when I returned and she saw me, they were like, oh, okay, so you blend in. You're like one of us. And I was like, that's what I've been trying to tell you. But it's not the same as when you see it.
You're not an English, you're one of us. Yes. That's awesome.
Yeah. So, I mean, but she's always now, like, after she got over that, it took a couple of years to get used to a lot of things, the whole name change and the whole transitioning thing and everything. After she got into it and really got over it and came really on board, she truly became my best friend. Like, I can talk to her about anything and always know she's going to give me the best advice. And she's always there for me, even though all my family, absolutely all my family, even the aunt that was here, are all in Puerto Rico now. So I'm basically by myself in New York. I keep very good communication.
Wow. Tell us a little bit about your career and what do you do that you love the most?
Well, as you know, I've been an activist for a long time. That's one of what I do, and I do modeling. I've been doing modeling on and off since 2007. And right now I currently work for CHEST, which is the Center for HIV/AIDS Studies and Educational Training, and is affiliated with Hunter College, so it's from the Research Foundation of CUNY. So we're currently working on a peer-led intervention, and it's called T-Talk, and which was developed in response to the acute health prevention needs of our community of trans women in New York. And my roles there are both to be a peer health navigator and also a research assistant. And I work with other peer health navigators who, like me, are women who are established leaders in the trans community. So is a study/intervention for trans women ran by trans women. So as a peer-led intervention, you know, T-Talk aims to reduce risk behaviors for trans women by providing them with skills that will help them develop self-motivated change and increased resilience. And it is our hope that this will help them to change negative thinking patterns that lead to unhealthy behaviors. And the women learn these skills by attending sessions aimed at reducing sexual health risks, substance use, and internalized stigma. And as a peer health navigator, the part of the peer health navigator that I do, it is my responsibility, along with the other health navigators, to use motivational interviewing and cognitive behavior skills therapy to guide participants through the process of learning more about common psychosocial health issues. And as a research assistant, I do the assessment part. So I assess them and do basically the whole assessment part of it. And then there comes the other component, which is the sessions, which is where the peer health navigator part of me comes in. So additionally, I work with participants to develop coping skills and achieve their goals of gaining access to professional medical care, social support, and other critical services. And the long-term, the goals and overall of T-Talk are very important to trans women and the community in general, because as a group we're at highest risk for HIV infection. And, you know, this is the first intervention that has been funded, you know, with a $5 million fund and grant in New York City to do such work for trans women and ran by trans women. Because, you know, even though we love our other, you know, our brothers, our gay people, but we need something for ourselves. And a lot of times things that get done for trans women get mixed in with men who have sex with men. And unfortunately, it's time that something like this happens so we can get accurate data of what's really going on in trans women's lives and their health.
Exactly.
And however,
Well,
no effective interventions to address this risk really exist. It is our hope that T-Talk provides trans women like me with the skills necessary to reduce HIV sexual risk. And from my experiences training for this study, because it was a very intensive study and training, I'm confident that T-Talk will empower women like myself to make healthy decisions moving forward in order to lead healthy and productive lives. So that's basically it in a nutshell.
So let me ask, what is next for you?
Well, right now, I've been doing a lot of advocacy and a lot more stronger in my advocacy because, as you know, unfortunately, there's been a lot of violence happening, and a lot of it has happened here recently in New York City. So I feel like I needed to really step in. I'm actually working with a collective group of wonderful trans women who are leaders in the trans community, and we're working together to try to stand up and really fight for what should be just given to any trans woman as any equal rights, and so they can see our presence in hospitals and courts and political campaigns everywhere where we need to be present to show that all our lives matter. So I've been doing a lot of advocacy in the trans community here. I've also been, this study that I mentioned, T-Talk, is just in the pilot phase. So it has about another 4 to 5 years. So I'll hopefully be working and getting more involved with it and be working with it along with my other coworkers. And, yeah, I have a couple of future plans to keep on my modeling. So I'm going to be pretty busy. In the next 2 weeks, I have a meeting with a fantastic photographer. Her name is Francesca Galliani. We're planning a project. We're doing a project together. So in the next 2 or 3 weeks, we're going to start a really nice project that also has to do with trans women. It has a different, and one of the parts of it is for trans women to be more visible. So it's going to be, I'll be doing a photo shoot with her. She's amazing.
That's an important thing, disability. I want to take time because we have 3 more minutes left of the live on airing. Then it goes into recording, which will be able to be listened fully on demand. I want to thank the chatters. They're all awesome. They're there just listening to you. We've got at least like 10 chatters in the chat room. Been trying to coax them to see if they want to ask any questions, but they're shy. They're just listening. It's amazing what you're doing. You're a beautiful woman, and
thank you.
The whole concept of a strong Latin woman reaching out, educating people, which is something that we need tremendously in our community, and we need to be visible. A lot of people transition, they go stealth, they hide, and then how do we get our message across? And that's why most people don't know about us.
Our guest in the chat room says hi, Vanessa.
Yeah, there's a guest.
Flamingo 5.
Saying hi, Vanessa.
Hi.
She says hi back, and I'm sure they're listening because they're chatting because they're saying hi.
Yeah.
But keep doing what you're doing. That's what we need. We need strong leaders in the community, visible people in the community, so we can finally break down the walls and get everyone to understand that even though we're part of the LGBT community, that we are not lesbians, we're not gay, although some of us are lesbians and some of us are gays. But
yes, I think most important that we're not invisible.
Exactly, and that's very important. So we want to thank you so much for coming on the show, and looking forward. If you want to be on the TV show, we had talked about that. If you have videos, we'd love to have you. That's an hour long. It's a lot more interactive. So obviously, a private.
That's great.
And you'll be welcome.
Thank you so much for your time.
Thank you for being part of our show and our transcript. Thank you so much. In the transcript. A week and a half ago, Adam Cervantes came to the rescue of a couple of young teens being assaulted in Manchester Center. He was hit in the face with a tire iron, and 2 days later, he passed away from his injuries. His lover, Anthony, has been left with funeral bills he can't afford.
A funeral for Adam will be held in our church on Wednesday, September 18th at 10 a.m. Visitation will be the day before at Reed & Sons, which is 1103 East Street, from 4 p.m. to 7 p.m. Donations can be sent to the Big Red Church, and make the donations attention Adam Anthony Cervantes. And you can go to www.giveforward.fundraiser/7T13/Fresno Community-Gives-Back-Fundraiser.
Yeah, I want to bring to an attention to a very good friend of mine named Jody Rose, who's got a Facebook page, and the Facebook page is www.facebook.com/top surgery for trans men. You check this webpage out. It's got a lot of, or the Facebook page has got a lot of information about top surgery for trans men. And also check out the www.makingmoneyfortopsurgery.com. He gives you ways how to make money for your top surgery. Here's a sample of what you'll learn in this ebook. Number one, how to write, market, and sell an ebook in a smart way, even if you don't know how to write.
Number two, how to make money online. That I learned from online marketing gurus. Number three, secrets of buying and selling concert and event tickets that brokers don't want you to know about. Number four, how to make money with affiliate marketing that most of the population does not know about, including more golden information that I learned from the Online Marketing Masters. Number five, how to create your own job based on your passion so you can earn money doing something that you love to do.
And that sounds like a great, great book for you guys to get. We're trying to get your surgeries done. Well, thank you so much, Vanessa, for being part of the show and, again, being part of our Transition Radio family. You will have a guest page on our website where listeners can click in with whatever website link you want us to put on there. So
you're very welcome.
Send that to us. All right, so thank you. Thank you, everyone, for listening. Thank you, chatters.
Yes.
And this Thursday, we have got Katie Leon, and she was on a radio show, but she's going to be on the TV show. She's an author of trans books, some novels, and she is also with an FTM, so we're going to have her on our show. That's going to be an exciting TV show for you to watch Thursday at 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Thank you, everyone. Stay tuned again. We love you, but remember to always love yourselves.